Wow, there we go. Hello. We're back again. It's day 2 of technically the debut question mark? I don't know. We have a few things that are different today. Let's see if I can actually. I don't know if my BGM is too loud. It might be. Probably. Let's drop it a little bit lower. There we go. But yeah, hopefully everyone's having a wonderful day. It's still like 5 o'clock in the morning for some people. Still hella early for some people. Yes, captions, you are correct, IMA. One of the major changes that I've done, for those of you who may be hearing impaired or just when I mumble because I don't speak too good, I've added captions to the bottom of the screen, live captions. So if it's incorrect, I apologize. The computer is still trying to figure out exactly what I'm saying, but you know, it's trying. Early is relative, surely. Yeah, it's relative. Hi, Umbi. Hello. How you doing? But yeah, no. Um, Obviously we've done some changes. Obviously the format is slightly different, and I'm just now noticing what happened to my YouTube chat. YouTube chat where? YouTube chat where? YouTube chat? Let's see if we could just add it. YouTube chat. Where you guys at? Chat. Okay. Haha. It's still not showing up. Why is that? Let's just take a look here. I've also technically switched back to what I was using previously as a stream setup just because I'm a little bit more comfortable with it. Um, a lot of the time when I was doing my pre-debut streams, I was using a completely different OBS setup that I changed for the debut stream because there was just a lot of moving parts and I didn't want to clutter up my normal setup. So we did some changes, but let's see if I do this. Ah, there you guys are. Hello. There we go. Now I can see you guys. But yeah. What other changes have we done since yesterday? Um, well, I don't know. I think monitoring my music directly into my ears is a big thing. What comes with that is the fact that for like the past 30 minutes I've been listening to my own BGM on loop, but it's fine. We vibe, I guess. But yeah, once again, hopefully this time is okay for some people. We're just gonna have a more relaxed part two of debut where I just get to yap endlessly. Because yesterday was kind of short. And I kept it short for a few reasons. For one, I wasn't like super mentally prepped and like honestly slightly nervous, but only because I was releasing videos on the same day. Like yesterday a bunch of things happened, right? The channel launches, I have to do a bunch of like advertising for myself, and then I have to attempt to memorize like a whole script essentially with all the slides and stuff. And I wanted to keep it as short as possible just for my own sake, because if I had to keep that up for 4 hours, I probably would have lost it, especially because of lack of sleep. um I think like for the past what week and a half give or take, I've been sleeping too well. It's either like sparsely or like, you know, not at all. Please sleep. Look, I'm trying. Last night was like the best sleep I had. It was so nice. It was so good. I like passed out and then I didn't wake up until like 8 hours later. It was kind of nice. Um, oh, when it comes to changes, if you could, IMA, since I know that you're in chat, could you probably, or could you possibly check out the exclamation mark points command? It should be working now. And if it doesn't, please let me know. But I'm pretty sure it should give us point tallies for everyone in chat. I did want to test that, but I didn't have time because I was doing the sleeping thing. There we go. Lovely. So the points check-in does work. So everyone now has a points balance. It's not as convenient as Twitch, but you could still exclamation mark points in chat and you could look at your points balance, what you will be trading those points in for. I'm still working on, but we'll get to it as we kind of go on. This week is not really a week for me to just like make massive changes and stuff. So we're gonna make slow improvements here and there as we go. But yeah, I think that's all for like the small tiny changes. Ooh, excuse me. Let's see here. So yeah, so today we're talking a little bit more about debut, talking a little bit behind the scenes, what it kind of took to get the videos out, and just giving like some perspective, right? Why I'm awake. I Aji, hello Aji. Good morning. Good morning. Um, yeah, just talking about like a little bit behind the scenes, at least from my perspective of like creating something. Um, and yes, Aji, the exclamation mark points should work unless you're not subscribed If you're not subscribed, it doesn't work. How dare. Wow. Are the shoutouts working though? That's a good check. We should probably check if the shoutouts are working. I'm checking here now. It is Akahachi, bruh. I'm checking now. We might as well do some testing, but I'm pretty sure the shoutout command should work. I don't remember if you need to add. You are subbed, but you can't exclamation mark points. Let's see. Let's see what's going on here. What is happening? It might be PN. Look, once again, we're still working on it as we kind of go on. Yeah, it's okay. We'll fix it. Like I was saying before, I had some time to rest, but I didn't have time to fix everything in the chatbot and things like that. So we'll kind of fix it as we go. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the lore video. Why don't we? Just a little bit of insight about like the lore video, what it took to kind of work on that, and kind of the lead up to the big day, and kind of trying to explain a little bit of my nervousness on the day. So for one, kind of starting off everything, I think I said it 1.5 billion times yesterday, but this entire channel and the entirety of me becoming a VTuber in the first place was to open up this channel and to kind of give a fun experience for videos on like the story that I want to tell. And that as a unique perspective, as a concept, actually was the entire reason why all this happened. So before I even had a model, I was already technically writing out the entire draft of the series. Some of you might know how long it is. I'll leave that up to however many videos I release. But every single episode had already technically been drafted out to a certain degree, before I even had a model. And from there, I think started the design process on the videos. So one of the interesting things doing all of the kind of prep work was, for one, even deciding my character, who I was going to be, and deciding which ones would be the most interesting. Um, there was a very fun moment of getting to decide between being the Retsu you guys see now and the other character that you will see later on, but kind of choosing who I wanted to embody as the kind of face of the channel took about 2 to 3 days, just kind of deciding. And I don't want to spoil anything about that other character because they do come up later, in a future video, that is planned. But like, even that process of kind of like getting to choose, I feel like is very unique. I feel like when most people hop into the space, they kind of just create a singular model for themselves, or like a singular theme or idea. Um, and for me, it was more so I had a buffet of options. Like I had different areas, different parts of the story that I could have been a part of. So the question then becomes like, why did I choose this one? And to be completely honest with you, the reason why I had chosen to be Retsu rather than the multitude of other characters in the universe boils down only to like, did I have a visual in mind for this character, right? Um, and when kind of narrowing down my options, I came down to two. And Aji already said it, like Bunny Retsu, oh, face. Um, the other option would have been a bunny. And beyond bunny, I won't say anything else. But like, all the characters that I had prepared, this is the one that I chose because those two had like very distinct design visuals like in my head, so it was easy to direct people in the future. When I was getting like my model and reference sheet done without having to like completely dump on them all this information and like context, right? Um, and so that was step number one, was getting the model and stuff like that. Kind of diving into it, like the little story of like getting in touch with Kumakaya Sensei. This one was a bit odd. So like I am, for lack of like any other means of explanation, super new to the space as a creator. So like I knew nothing of the nuance of like interacting with people. I knew no one. And so I was going in blind for like primarily the entirety of me starting this entire venture. And what comes with that is not knowing how to approach people for like art, right? So I did a ton of research of like what was necessary to get what I wanted out of like a model, what I wanted to do with my streams, what I wanted to do with all my assets and things like that. But what came to be the most difficult part was finding connections with artists that knew how to translate my non-visual ideas into illustrations and art. Fast forward or fast or rewind a few years or few years, a year back. Um, and literally a year ago, I remember reading a webtoon called The Vampire Lord's Greatest Wife and just really enjoying the art and the story. Which if you haven't already read it, I would recommend reading it. It's on season 2 right now. I think a chapter just released actually. But we were, and by we, I mean me and my buds, because I had a lot of help from my friends who were not part of the VTuber space, kind of helped me out. We were kind of looking at artists, and it just so happened that one of the artists that we came across who did do VTuber art, or at least reference sheets for like characters and stuff, was the artist for the Vampire Lord's Greatest Wife. And from there, I kind of just started and like started running. I like contacted them, which for someone like me who's like super introverted was kind of scary. Like I'm really good at faking extroversion, but having to like message someone briefly on like, "Hi, I know this is weird and I don't know if you actually do this, but I would really like it if you could do my reference sheet art." And once again, this was contacting an artist that I've read one of their works before. Now, by no means is Kumakaya Sensei given all the laurels that they deserve for their work, but it felt like I was already attempting to like talk to someone I really shouldn't have been. Um, but once again, like I reached out and they were super sweet about it, and from there the rest is history, right? We got to see the lovely reference sheet that Kumakai Sensei made, and from there we go to the model and stuff like that. Um and obviously you guys can go back to the VOD from yesterday to see like the reference sheet art and how that came out. But then once again, me kind of going in blind to the entire thing, trying to figure out like, okay, now what's next? Right. I have the reference sheet, and Kumakaya Sensei did it like super fast. All of a sudden, I just had a reference sheet in front of me, and I was like, I don't know what to do with this now. You didn't give me any time to really think about what my next step was. From there, I then had to look for a model artist, and I was super prepared. I had like all the notes that I thought a person would need. And then we came across the artist Xiao Jing, which obviously did my model work. Xiao Jing, for those of you who don't know, is an award-winning artist over in China. I once again, using the power of friendship with a bunch of buds in a VC, were like looking for artists, and then this person came up, and they just so happened to have Fiverr commissions open. I messaged them, and within like minutes, they messaged me back. Uh, and they were asking for like references, like what should we do for the design and all this fun stuff. Um, I wish I had the time to like compile all the notes that I gave to both Kumakaya Sensei as well as Xiaojing, but like that's just like long message logs that I would have to scrub through, and I don't think I had the time to do that while I was EP sleepy last night. So apologies for that, for the lack of visuals. But yeah, no, like after kind of talking to Kumakaya Sensei and kind of getting over that bump, I think talking to Xiaojing afterwards was way easier. Because from that point on, I kind of just let go of being scared of reaching out to people for certain things and instead just like go for it. Um, because the worst thing that could happen is that the message gets ignored, right? Or like I don't get a reply or something like that. Well, thankfully, um, neither of those two did that, right? And so now I have a working model, right? Um, I think going into it, getting the model done in the first place, I I don't know exactly how I came to kind of like decide on what I needed for a model. I think one of the scariest things kind of looking on the market for a model in the first place is all the options and not knowing exactly what they mean. Like the easy stuff is like or like profile, bust, or like waist up or full body. Like those are pretty descriptive. But then you have to learn from nothing, from outside of the sphere, like okay, what are the toggles, what toggles do I want, what expressions I want, how do I want my rigging, what axes do I want to like kind of deal with. And that sort of thing was daunting, but you just kind of have to dive in. And so thankfully Xiaojing was very kind and like explained everything step by step. Really appreciative of that entire process because it made my life so much easier. um but yeah, with Xiaojing and with Kumakai Sensei, if they didn't reply to my messages, then obviously I wouldn't have this model that you guys see already. So huge thank you to them. But in particular of how I decided like what toggles I needed, what level of design I wanted, um all of that was done strictly from me taking a step back and thinking about what videos I wanted to make, which kind of brings us to, I guess, the lore videos again. So in particular, knowing that I wanted to one have a lore video. Oh, do I have a favorite toggle? I do, but it's IMA's least favorite. Um, hold up. I don't have my streamer deck on right now, so I would have to do it manually. Give me a second here. I could pull it up. Where is it? Let's just quickly. I'm gonna find it. IMA, you could look away from the screen for a little bit, and I'll tell you when you could look back again. uh, let's change this back to F21. And let's see here. I believe it's this one. Yep, it's this one. Uh, oops, I put it on a key that did not exist. Gotta love it. There we go. This is my favorite one, by the way. This is my favorite toggle. IMA, you can look away from the screen. Look, it's so funny. Look at him. Look at him. uh like I can okay, it's gone now. I put it away. I can go through my toggles when I have my stream deck open again. Let me actually. Is it charged up? It's not. Unfortunate. waiting for a day that's a thumbnail. It has been a thumbnail in the past before. When I was doing my pre-debut streams on Twitch, there was a uh Hero's Adventure thumbnail. I believe it's the one. I think it's the one that the makers of the game replied to. Uh, like I'm pretty sure the developers of Hero's Adventure literally replied to that one of all of them. But yeah, that was a thumbnail that I had on Twitter, and the makers of the game saw it, and yep, it's also once again IMA's least favorite toggle. I have another one that's kind of goofy. Let's see if I can pull this one up. We're only gonna give you little glimpses of the different goofy toggles that we have. But let's see here. This, and then this key will make, oops, this. So I believe if I did it right, yeah, I have this toggle, which kind of looks goofy, because you can't see my other hand. I thought it was Photoshop when I first saw it, but no, the only thing photoshopped about it was like everything else. That's a toggle. But yeah, this is one of the toggles that I have, and this one was actually, if you take a really close inspection on my reference sheet, you guys can see my lovely instrument Lucille. Um, I don't want to use the other part of the toggle. I'll use it for like a little bit, but you'll see why I don't use this toggle when I'm in this screen. But yeah, yeah, actually that's the reason why. Oh, where is foreground? So if I take away my desk for a second, so like, let's see here. Oh, the toggle didn't work. Hold up. Let's fix it. This should be, can I link it to this? Yeah, so like, yeah, without the desk, it's less sus, but like I have a toggle for me specifically to strum it, but like the animation pattern's a bit short. So like with the desk, we're not gonna do that with the desk, is the choice that I've made. we're gonna we're not gonna do that toggle with the desk. But yeah, YouTube will bonk. Yeah, that's why I'm not gonna do it. But going back to what we were talking about, the lore video. Don't use my tag in this context. Um, the videos, like I said before, had already been drafted out script wise. So like in my head, I knew, okay, these are the snippets that I want to kind of make into videos. And so from there, it just became kind of working on the art. Admittedly, there were a few issues that had occurred. And mind you, I'd started the process of making my lore video last year around this time. Around this time was when the production of the lore video episode 0 started production. A few things happened during that production process, which we won't talk about, but all of that culminated to one day in November of last year, looking for an artist that would be willing to work for me and doing it relatively quickly. Because at the time, I wanted to debut around December, January, or November. And so the lovely Clary, I was in her VC, or her Discord, in chat, kind of losing my mind. And out of the kindness of her heart, she like compiled a bunch of artists that she knew personally and could vouch for, and sent them my way. And that is where we met the lovely T. Um, and there was a very specific reason why I chose the artist T. I won't show you their profile because it is not YouTube appropriate for some of their art in their portfolio. However, um we could actually just take a look at some of the screens of the work that they did for the video. I think that would be very helpful. So let's see here. Let's bring out the whiteboard real quick. There we go. So, and sorry, chat, you're gonna go away for a little bit because you guys are covering me. Um, there you go. So, let's talk a little bit about the lovely T's art using the magical whiteboard. Let's just go ahead and move that around. So this is like one of the screens from the lore video. If you watched it, you know what part of the video this is. But what really struck me about T's art was specifically the show stick figures. I'll show you guys stick figures in a bit when we talk about some other artists that I worked with. But when I was working with T in particular, I didn't actually have stick figures when I was working with them. We had a very loose storyboard, and they came up with the designs for this screen, for this, which by the way, this screen right here is nutty for a multitude of reasons. But like, look at the art. Look at the art. Who dat? I don't know who dat is. But one of the frames in the video, if you guys watched it once again, and I think I could show you here, this screen right here, and this one too, actually. So these two scenes or images, like, for some reason when I was looking through T's portfolio, there was a certain piece that I'd seen and like it was perfect for this shot. Like in T's art style, like it was perfect. And then we see the final product and like it was like the image I had in my head was like completely pulled from the neurons activating and turned into pixels on a screen. Everything kind of just matched up when it came to like working with T. So once again, thank you for one, working with me on a multitude of occasions, but also just like working with the little information I had, and just dealing with like my production schedule in the best way you could. The turnover time for these images, by the way, was so fast. It was nutty. And once again, when I was rushing, like T was an absolute godsend. They really like smacked the ball out of the park with this one and all the art that they've done. But yeah, we'll probably see more T art in the future. I'll say that. We'll probably see more T art in the future. But let's talk about the other artists. How long did your eyeliner take though? It takes like an hour a day. It's not that hard. Um Don't call out my eyeliner. I woke up like this. But speaking of the art in the lore video, there's another illustrator who is credited, and a very big thank you to them. It was linked. So kind of before I show you the art, let's say for example this shot here. This shot was in the video composited. If you watch it again, there's a background to it. And you might be asking the question of like, oh, where is it? Well, all the background art, all three pieces, and I'll explain a little bit more about that later, but all three pieces were done by Linked X Memories on VGen. They, like T, got very little information on like what I needed out of the art. But Linked is a crazy artist. They did this piece for me within like 3 days. I asked them and I was like, hey, is it possible for you to create this shot? And like I sent scribbles and like a brief explanation of like what the boxes on the screen meant. It was pretty hard to decipher. And within days they sent me this and I was like, oh, that's perfect. Their landscaping work, by the way, is insane. I love the way that they do backgrounds. But um when I say that they did 3 backgrounds, they did do backgrounds specifically, and I'll just show you them really briefly. So they're all layered in a specific way. Um let's talk about how we got a composition of the silhouette with now a background. So what Linked had to do was made a like super high resolution and DPI image, zoom it in or zoom it out, and render it in like 2 different file states, so that way I could go back in when I was doing my editing and take the textures to put them in. So once again, kind of harkening back to the lore video, when I was doing the edit, I literally took this silhouette and then in my mind figured out where exactly this character was standing, and then did some trigonometry and like basically took the area, because technically Retsu is standing about here and looking this way. So I took this and kind of edited the video in a way so you saw that perspective from that side, still using this image. And every single like mountain peak here, all even like the skybox itself was like separated, so that way I could take it and then um use it use a 2D image as a 3D space, right? Um and once again, Linked did all of this work in 3 days. They were cooking. They were in the kitchen for 3 days and were like, "Here you go, perfect." And like the subtle lighting allowed me to take some liberties with what I could do in post. And once again, I had communicated this with Linked specifically on what I can and can't, what I can and needed to do. And once again, doing it in 3 days was nuts. So finished art pieces from those two. But like really the driving force of all of that was kind of needing to do it really quickly is what I thought, because I only had about a month until my supposed debut back then, and obviously we only debuted yesterday. So I'm sorry T and Linked for rushing y'all. I really do appreciate it. And apologies for the stress we had to go through, but you guys absolutely knocked the ball out of the park on this one. Like, you guys absolutely crushed what I needed you guys to do. Um, and I'm forever thankful for that. Um, talking about the lore video, obviously, Aji's in chat. Like, we could talk about it. Uh, so obviously Aji did the scoring for the video. Um, I would say it was a little bit easier to kind of like work with Aji because we already technically had an edit done. By the time I contacted you, Aji, on like what I needed, I think we were talking in like December and January, correct? About the music score. Correct me if I'm wrong at any point, by the way. But it was like December, January. I had already kind of shifted in my mind what time frame we were working with. And it was a little bit looser than what I had initially thought. But by the time I had contacted Aji, we already technically had like the 3rd or 4th pass done of the edit, and we just needed the music to go along with it. Just after Virtual Verses, was it just after? Because I think just after was Wishing, and then after Wishing, around November, December-ish was when we made Condiments. And I think we made Condiments after we had conversed about the score. Yeah. It was around that time frame. Like, I think we're both remembering the same thing. But like, I sent Aji the entirety of the 3rd or 4th pass of the episode, which had like my voiceover already in it, a lot of the background vocals in it, some of the sound effects in it, and basically the pacing of the entire video was done. And Aji came in and like literally, I remember this so specifically because now, when Aji was working on the score, I was actually helping a family member get their driver's license, and I remember messaging Aji at the at the DMV or something. And I think at the DMV I was like listening to tracks and stuff. First draft around condiments in the final near December and January, probably. Because yeah, no, I was like in the car waiting for the line to like go away, and I'm just like listening to the draft you were sending me like over and over and over again, and then I was typing out notes on my phone. Um but like kind of the experience that, at least from my perspective on working with Aji, was that like I knew the subtle vibes and theming, and really all I could do was answer questions, right? Among all things, and I think this will remain the same for the most part for a lot of the videos, but like artists and people that I work with in general, I want to retain some of their creative control over like what we're what I'm doing, right? In the sense of like I want an artist to be given an idea and then be inspired by the idea and then give me what they think, right? Um and the same thing happened with kind of Aji, where like I'm listening and I'm like, oh, I really like what you did here. What can we do for this? Like, can we make these changes? I like this idea. And kind of just like getting them to do what they want with the ideas they have and kind of mixing it with what the original intent of the video was. And I think there's no one that will really watch that video and go like, oh, the music does nothing. I feel like the scoring behind the video itself is such a large part of why like certain scenes hit, you know? Like that bell when like we're in this scene and it's just a slow pull pan. And it's like just silence is just the chef's kiss. So once again, thanks a billion, Aji. I appreciate you. Um Without the score, I don't think a lot of the dramaticism of the story would have come through. Um, but it was pretty straightforward, I would say, for the video at least. A lot of it was pretty cut and dry, simple. I had like a basic plan in my mind, and I just ran through a production process. And thankfully, the talented people around me were able to kind of follow me in the vision. Um, but yeah, that was lore video one. The next video that we should probably talk about is the lovely Twilight music video. If you haven't watched it, if you haven't heard the song, uh, local dog dater, local dog daughter states it's kind of it's it's catchy, I guess. But let's talk a little bit about the music video for that song. Actually, let's talk about the music of the music video first. So it's a bit more of like a randomness when it comes to that entire part of the debut, because, and I'll bring you guys back. One of the funny things that comes with virtual verses, outside of one, obviously Aji and I becoming friends in the first place, and like me meeting a bunch of people, was as well with the kind of tied in with the duet challenge community, was meeting Jerflow. And honestly, I think it was the first time we had ever gotten into a VC together. It's just a bunch of us, and Jared and I are talking. We're showing each other like work in progress things, and then all of a sudden, Jared goes like, "Here's a beat, take it." And I was like, "What?" He literally just hands me a beat, because I had shown Jared that I was working on another song completely. And Jared gives me the instrumental to Twilight just out of the blue. Like he cleaned it up a little bit and then just sent it my way and was like, "Here, figure out something with this." And I was like, "Okay." It instantly clicked, by the way. He had played it in VC, and like instantly I was like, "Okay, I know exactly what kind of theming I want to write for this." I'm pretty sure the next day the song was fully written, and I had already recorded a demo for it before sending it over to Jared just to kind of see what he was thinking when it came to that song. But I think for the most part, just me working on music for one before Twilight and having that conversation was complete like random circumstance, right? My initial plan was to write an original at some point, release it at some point, and kind of push it as like the opening song to the in my head canon the anime that this is for the videos, like just my own little series. Here's the opening for it. And it just wasn't fully clicking, like the instrumental and like what I was writing and like what I wanted the theming didn't really quite click, but I still showed it to Jer, and I just remember very specifically like hearing Twilight and going like, this is an ending song. This is the ending theme to the entirety of the series. Um and I remember writing and just having a very cemented idea of what I wanted the theme of the song to be just from hearing the instrumental. Um but then I sent it over to Jer. And then you might be asking the question like, oh, then like where does Menno come into the mix with all of this? Well, while I was writing the song, I was recording it the day after Jer gave it to me. And the first thought I had in my brain was after listening to the demo was I need like a female voice in the background that has a little bit of a higher register. And it just so happened that on my Twitter feed, Menno's one harmony challenge was like popping off and was just like all over my timeline, and I was like, this person is perfect for this. Menno OP. Yeah, no, Menno like actually OP. Menno actually OP. And so I once again with like little to no fear essentially messaged Menno and was like, hey, I think your voice is perfect for this. I know we have never spoken before, but like I would really appreciate it if you could join me on this track. And with like zero to no hesitation, Meadows just said yes. And I was like, okay, perfect. So I sent like a little section of what Menno would have sang, and just kind of gave it to her, and she crushed it. I asked for harmonies, and once again, like with the same idea of attempting to like retain as much creative control with like your own slot. Um, I just told Menno go nuts, and Menno popped off. Like I was like, you want to do harmonies? Go for it. Just do what you think feels right. And Menno obviously did what Menno does and pops the heck off. Like literally, like 30 layers. Like I don't know. I don't remember what the count was, but like a billion layers. Um, but yeah, no, the end product of that obviously being the song that you guys hear in Twilight. Um, let's talk a little bit about the music video because I think the music video is uh a bit interesting. So once again, with the production of the music video kind of being sporadic, random, out of nowhere, I'm as soon as I recorded it, I was like, I need art for this. I'm gonna make it a whole music video. Um, but one, I don't have the time or ability to like commission an editor to make a music video for me, especially since I don't have time to make a storyboard. What are we going to do? And so obviously I go back and I contact illustrators first that I've already worked with. And at the time, I believe for the other song that is unreleased, I was already talking to T. But for Twilight, I was like, well, I can't ask for T again because they're currently busy. So I obviously ask the person who's done my illustrations for like my starting and ending screens review. Um, and let's just pull this up here. I'm going to open up the layers a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about Review and like the work that they've done, right? Starting off with the first piece that they worked on, which was my ending screen, which if you don't know what my ending screen looks like, let's just go ahead and pull that up on the whiteboard. So if you don't remember what my my stream ending screen looks like, it's this illustration. And this was done by, once again, the lovely Review. And she had basically turned this over, and I was like, this is perfect, right? To get even to this point was, once again, me just like not knowing how VTuber stuff works and just kind of like trying to make networking connections with people. Um, Review is, I don't know how their commissions aren't more taken. Um, but like, art is gorgeous. They turned this over so fast, but they also turned it over so fast while the only thing that I gave to them, besides like a few art references and my reference sheet for my model, was this: stick figures. Now, Aji, I know you were asking earlier for stick figures. This is what I gave to Ryu for my ending screen. Um, this is terrible. Like, in my mind, I was like, this will probably give enough information to the artist on like what to do, how to do it. If you were following around during like singing March, I'm pretty sure I outed myself and like showed like this piece. Wait, that's insane because it gives perspective and relative locations. I mean, like in my non-art brain, like I could close my eyes and like mimic the shape, but like I don't know how to do detailing. So I understand perspective lines. I just don't understand how to make the things in the art look good sitting in the perspective lines. I could draw all the lines and I understand that, but like um this particular piece was actually inspired by an Renaissance painting. I believe it was Library of Alexandria is the original art, where it's like this huge hallway with like a very tall ceiling, and you just see like bookshelves lining both sides of the piece. And I was like, oh, that'd be really cool, but I also want to kind of allude to something else. And so what subtle things can we do? So like, this is the kind of the posing reference that I had given to Review, but like I gave Review like, I think 4 pages of notes on like, this is a reference to this is a reference to this, I want to draw this, like I want to draw the audience's eyes to this piece, like how can we do that, like where can I see your input on here, and things like that. And so that's what I gave for my composition reference there. After we had worked the first time, and we kind of got a better idea of how each other works, I had asked Review like, hey, I need a stream starting screen, and you already worked on the ending screen, so can you work on my starting screen? And they humbly obliged once again, and they made this lovely piece for my stream starting screen. Obviously, you guys saw it before, and have seen it probably in the previous stream or any of my previous streams actually. But this piece of art was then made, and I was very particular because I had an idea of what I wanted. But now knowing how I could communicate to Review, one of the benefits to working with artists that you've already worked with before is that you have the kind of an idea of how to communicate properly. The notes for this one was even sparser. If I show you, this is the reference that that I gave to poor Review for my stream starting screen. There is nothing on it. I just have my expression notes, and then we have a facing cross just so that like you could tell that the head is slightly tilted down. Obviously, big tree, but like this is all I gave to them, and they made this. And like in my head, once again, just pulling the art from the firing neurons, the electrical pulses, and putting it onto pixels was like done and dusted. There you go. Review once again turned this over in like an insane amount of time and just like crushed it. Um it goes without saying, obviously, that uh Ben Shin, who did the animation, um like took these and we had everything like pre-cut and everything, and so it was just like easy. um Gives me faith I can communicate with artists well enough. Yeah, I feel like the one thing that you should be doing if you are communicating with artists in the first place is like, once you have an idea in your head, at least putting it onto paper in some form or fashion. Like, if you can't draw it what exactly you want, write it down in a few sentences and then draw whatever else you can draw. I think what's hard for me who can't do art is trying to take all the ideas and putting them into a digestible format. But like, what you should be doing is exactly what is going on in your head and just telling them. Nothing is worse than saying nothing, right? Just saying like go for it. Because that's a lot of work, and like you have to design a like if you give them somewhere to start, like a launching point, I feel like they appreciate that tons. At least that's what I've been told by artists. So yeah, I mean, I would say that you should be able to communicate well enough when it comes to artists at G. But obviously, Review didn't just do my stream starting and stream ending screen. We were just talking about the Twilight MV, which you guys can see the storyboard here. Where is the actual storyboard? Here. We were in a rush for production, for Twilight, because I didn't know when the mix was gonna be done. So I was like, I need art now so I could start doing my pre-slates, um, and so I could put the lyrics on while the mix is being done, so that way it'll be ready to go as quickly as possible. And I remember very specifically contacting Review while they were still I think moving or something. There was something that was going on in their lives, and they legit go, yeah, sure, I could do it. I just need a storyboard and some notes. This is the storyboard I sent them. I drew it in MS Paint in like 5 seconds. Um, and I was like, this is all I need. I'll send you character references because it's not going to just be me in the video. This two completely different characters. Um, but this is the storyboard. Obviously, it has the pieces of what we see in the final art, but just so that you guys can see how good of an artist Ryu is, that's the final. Yeah, we ended up with gorgeous. And honestly, this piece, I love the kind of sketchy style. I had asked Review to do a sketchy style for this art piece because I thought it fit very well. I did ask for a higher DPI so that way I could zoom it in the edit for later on and stuff like that. But I wanted the music video to be kind of simple and just be a singular illustration music video. And so I just needed a certain texture to it, and I just needed certain elements so that way I could move around the screen. Obviously, everything was kind of pre-cut, so like I could lift things off of the scene. Ben Shin, once again mentioning his name again, Ben Shin came in and kind of helped start the animation, so that way they were kind of idle moving. So that way, when I did edits, I was working with a video and not images. So that way the final cut would take less time, right? Once again, with the production process, depending on your timeline, you could do certain things. Like I could be very precious with like the puppeting, but if all I really need is certain hair moving slightly, some stars that are twinkling and stuff like that, then it's better to just get it pre-animated, have a loop, and then work with a video rather than an image, right? It's two different skill sets, but kind of like learning which one you need to do for certain projects is super important. Um, but yeah, let's talk a little bit more granularly about the characters. I won't explain who these two characters are. Just know that this is a slight spoiler. Just a slight one. Um, let's talk about the first one. So we only see the back of her head. And just for you guys who are coming to hang out today, we're going to spoil a little bit of what the front side of this character looks like. We have this character here. So the lovely lady who is sitting in the music video facing away from the screen is this character here. This art was done by the lovely Clary, also known as Bright. Um, she was in chat before, but she crushed this in like a few days. I had certain notes about like what I wanted done, and Claudia was just like, okay, and banged out this art. Like I was freaking out as I'm getting like live updates of like here are the sketches and stuff like that. Um, like when it comes to sketches as well, like we even have these ones, like some sketch work that was there as kind of like, oh, is this correct? And I was like, yes, this is correct. Yes, this is the one. we want we want this art style. um so this is the female character that is looking away from the screen. This is the reference sheet that I eventually gave to review as well. But for the character in the background that we don't even see their face as well, this is their face. And once again, art done by Clary. Um, I've made sure that the names are correct. Yes, the names are correct, so there's no spoily woilies anywhere. But this, in all of its glory, is the character in the distance, in the background of that video. Oh, when they will come into the story, you guys will see. And what exactly they do is up to the story and how you guys interpret it is. Um, but yeah, no, Clary kind of turned these images over really quickly, which allowed Review and I to like get to making the illustration for Twilight that much faster. Because instead of Review having to do design, they only had to focus on making the art and like putting things in the right place. And Clary did a wonderful job helping me design this character as well. So that's a little bit about the art for at least the lore video and the music video. There was also art done by the lovely Ends, which I could technically, if I just open it up here, where is it? Project files. Where are my assets? Where are my assets? Assets where? There they are. I think it's this one. Could be incorrect. Ah, lovely. So, there were obviously 3 videos released yesterday. I had the lore video, I had the music video, but then I had one of kind of the side videos that I wanted to release, which was Eye of the Omnipotent. And we'll talk about this project. We'll talk about this project now. The main idea behind Eye of the Omnipotent as a side project was kind of, what could I do outside of just telling one story? And so I decided to create Eye of the Omnipotent so that way I could make more funny, lighthearted videos. And that's how that video came to be. But obviously, I needed good art. There was bad art in there, and the bad art is all me. Okay? All the stuff that looks bad, that's me. You could tell the difference. All the good art was done by Ends, the lovely jubbly Ends, who did all the character art for Ulvik Maham, Ghost Form, Ulvik Maham, Human quote-unquote form. We have Mobamba, the Centaur. We have Andale Amigo. We have Jim. Why am I not getting noticed? Hi, Chloe. Hello. Thinking about Mobamba. Thinking about this boy. I know we were just gushing over your art earlier. It clary. Yes, it clary. The art for Eye of the Omnipotent was done so fast. And I had taken basically a few screenshots of some notes from when I was running the campaign, and that's what I sent over to Ends. And that's where we get like these images from. But all of the good art done by Ends, and there's a bunch of things on my Twitter as well that are done by Ends. They're done within like hours. It's like the scariest thing ever. I don't know how Ends just like sketches these out and then just sends them over. It's scary. It's a superpower at this point. Uh Hello. But Eye of the Omnipotent as a whole, I wanted to kind of take a lot of references from like one actual like original art mixed with a lot of like just internet memes, and so it was less art heavy and more so just like working on the video and the script. That video and script, it felt like I was writing it as I was going, because it was me sitting in a VC writing out a script and then like pressing record and then just going nuts on like remembering the oddity of this entire scenario. And then messaging ends at like 5 o'clock in the morning my time, going like, ends, draw this art. I need it, please. And then it's just going, okay. And then 2 hours later, just getting cool art after the fact. But yeah, no, like Eye of the Omnipotent as a project, it it progressed kind of smoothly comparatively to like everything else. Like the lore video had its own problems. Twilight as a music video was like a whole thing. But like working on Eye of the Omnipotent was more so stretching my arms and legs on the edit and trying to make it visually interesting and like filling in the space of my voice with something visual on the screen for you to see. Um Thankfully a lot of it only took like a few days to get it together. And by the end of it, I had listened to the same jokes over and over and over again, and a lot of my friends who would watch me edit also had to hear the jokes over and over and over again. So at least it's streaming proof where like I don't get tired of hearing it. I just hate hearing my voice. But it is what it is, I guess. But yeah, no, Eye of the Omnipotent literally, of the 3 videos that were released yesterday, was the easiest to make, and it was because of the fact that instead of like having to lean on working with an illustrator, I could just be kind of loosey goosey with it and just make a video, um, and just find the assets as I kind of go. Uh, the kind of caveat to that was obviously at the end of Eye of the Omnipotent, you kind of have the huge like credits list at the very end while I'm doing the outro. That one, okay, so do note, if you ever need to use stock imagery or anything of the sort in a video that you're producing, please make sure that you like already have the source information on it, because it's hard to back check when you've already deleted certain files on your computer and now you have to figure out via the name of the actual image in the project, and Google that and then reverse image. It was a whole mess. It took me so long to get all the proper credits for all of the stock footage, video, and sound effects. So for your own safety, just do that. If you're gonna make YouTube videos, have a little document, copy pasta, all of that stuff there. Uh, but Eye of the Omnipotent came out, but I can't talk about Eye of the Omnipotent without talking about the lovely logo. A lot of people actually brought it up. The Eye of the Omnipotent logo. Let's see if I could pull it up. Is it this one? It is. So, and I should probably fix the description because I don't believe we fully credited Kyun or Kyun. Apologies, I'm trying to center this. So, Eye of the Omnipotent logo, which you guys will probably see in the future videos as well, was done by the lovely Kyun. They don't do logos a lot of the time, but like they said yes because we'd asked nicely. Hey, can you help me with a logo? I can't art. And it was a bunch of references compiled by IMA and I, trying to like figure out exactly what I wanted for the video. And I remember we were doing all of that while I was editing the video, like for Eye of the Omnipotent. I was like, what would be cool? So there are a few design things if you've missed it. Obviously, it looks like an eye. Like that's the obvious notes on it. But if you look closely enough to the center of the logo, it's a D20. And it lands on a 0, which is my favorite part of the design. Like if you look at it, it's a D20 but it like the iris is also a 0, which is like the sickest thing ever. Which harkens back to like the point of the Eye of the Omnipotent, which is to kind of poke fun at the hilarity that making bad decisions or making good decisions but not being able to roll well can have on a campaign. Um, so Kyun like crushed the Eye of the Omnipotent logo, and it was done so quickly as well. A lot of the artists that I work with do it so fast. I don't know how they art so quickly. They were done with the logo before I was done with the video itself. But there were a few different demos for the rest of the logos. I don't remember where that file is, but yeah, no, like I'd never gotten a logo in this way done. And so it was kind of hard directing someone like to exactly what I wanted from it, right? Because it's like, how do I ask someone for something I can't view in my head? So let's talk about how that's different to like when I was producing the lore video or Twilight, right? For those two, I had an idea visually of like, this is what I want on the screen at this time, this time, this time. Here's a storyboard for it. When I'm asking for a logo, I have like loose ideas of a theme. And so, what can I do to kind of navigate that space to kind of guide the artist to making something that would resonate with what I'm making or what I need it for? Because once again, I had no clue what exactly the logo I wanted was, and this creation was completely from Kyun's brain. Like, this was done from their own brain, with their own design, with all the references that we gave them, and like all the notes. And somehow they made magic happen, and that's how we get that logo, which was great. It was oh lovely. I I think for Eye of the Omnipotent, the one regret that I have with it is that nearing the end of the production cycle for it, I was working so fast and so loosely that like some of the edits are kind of like they're kind of iffy, but you know, it's fine. It's fine. No one can see the little ews in my editing. It's okay. It all makes sense if you don't look at it for a little bit. But yeah, those are the lovely artists that I work with. And everyone that I worked with a lot of the productions for yesterday's videos. Once again, I'd like to say a big thank you to everyone that was mentioned, obviously. I put all their information in the description as best as I can, just so that they can get, their laurels for the hard work that they do. But it's so difficult to even give like a portion of how much thanks I have for what they did, because if all I can do is give a link and say thank you, I feel like that's still not enough for the amount of work that they put in. Um, they really did save a lot of what I thought was a doomed debut, and so I appreciate that. Without them, a lot of the stuff wouldn't have happened. When it could have. But yeah, that's a little bit, sorry, a little bit about the production of those videos. We could talk a little bit about the kerfuffle that had occurred with the slides, because I feel like it's time to talk about it. Um, because it was a big shock to me. I thought they were done. I thought it was ready, and I had a whole script like memorized and prepared for it. And so why did yesterday all of a sudden I kind of just had to wing it? Well, a few days ago, when I was kind of getting everything ready for the stream, I had found out that all the slides that I'd prepared before went missing. Or more so, I opened up the file again and it was completely empty. I don't know what happened. Like the slides I had prepared were completely gone and I was just sitting there freaking out. And so for a whole day, Ayame, who is a lovely moderator to the channel, helped me not lose my mind and rebuild a lot of the slides and make them look nice. Um, we don't have to reopen up the slideshow again. We could, but we don't need to. Uh, a lot of those slides were done. I mean, would you say a day beforehand or like afterwards? IMA's probably asleep because it is way too early over there. Um, but like working on the slides, I just wanted to get like basic information on them, and it was just like a rush to get everything on there. And so when debut day came, I was like, okay, I just need to fill in like about an hour or like an hour and a half if I need to, um, on just yapping. And I was like, okay. So I made the slides and I tried really hard to like mentally make note of things that I could say at each of the slides, but I was completely unprepared. It was all off the cuff, kind of uh, basically ad libbed. I had no plans for that specific slideshow because like I didn't have really any idea of how to transfer what I had in the script and then like make it into this new thing. But there were a few things that I believe I had missed on the original slideshow. Obviously, besides talking about Kyun and Jerflo and Jay and like all the other artists that I had not mentioned for the other productions because it was kind of like the teaser for Eye of the Omnipotent and Twilight. Even though you guys saw it, they had their own descriptions with all of their own credits for them and everything. But one of the things that I missed out on was obviously Keelan helping me with the logo for Eye of the Omnipotent. I had missed out on the involvement of Fatih, despite not using the stinger transition. Still, technically, should have used their name for the. Oh wait, no, I did put them in the slideshow. Okay, they were there in the slideshow. I missed one person. Ah, yes, my original model artist. So, um, for those of you who don't know, this is version 2 of the model that I was going to debut with. There was actually going to be a different model entirely. And I wonder if I should show that. Let's see if I can find it real quick. If I can't find it, then we won't find it. But I did want to reference one person that I had worked with and unfortunately didn't use the asset that they had made for me. And that was the lovely artist who made my version 1. Or not 1.5, my 0.5 model. Let me just pull. I'm looking for it right now. Can I find their work? Where is it? Wow, where is it? Um, no, no. Where is it? I don't even have it saved onto my drive, do I? Or am I just not logged in? Am I dumb and I'm not logged in? I'm dumb and I'm not logged in. Love that. Let's just switch that there. But yeah, the artist that I had worked with before. Typey. Um, the reason I didn't use their specific asset was because I, for one, asked for their services without any idea of what to ask for a model. Now obviously with Xiaojing and for Kumokaya sensei, um I had more of an idea of what I needed for a model, like a 2D model. But when I had asked the original modeler, why can I not log in all of a sudden? When I asked the original modeler, I legitimately had uh, no idea what I was asking for. I had no idea what kind of rigging I needed, what I needed rigged, what possible options were available to me. And it wasn't because I disliked the quality of work that I was given. I just literally didn't know what I was asking for. Oh man, I can't find it. Man. But anyways, the modeler's name was Ling Xiao, who does wonderful work. I believe that you could check out their commissions in Fiverr. They are very affordable and they were godsend at the time because I didn't know what I was asking for. And so not only did they do design for free for me, but they also made the model and rigged it for me for a very affordable price. And without them, I wouldn't have learned all the mistakes that I had made with them to make better works with other artists. And unfortunately, I didn't have time to ask for a model from them again because they were completely commissioned out. And so I had to find someone else. And that's how I went to the scramble to find Kumakaya Sensei and Xiaoqing. But yeah, um, that is a lot of what leading up to the debut was. I think, at least for today, I'm like a little bit more relaxed because I kind of have this weight off of my shoulders of having to like worry about, um, hey, don't forget to thank this person. Hey, don't forget to do X, Y, or Z. Now I'm kind of just reminiscing a little bit of the process of the full year because if once again, if you weren't paying attention, it took me over a year. And sorry, I'm going to move my mic a little bit because it's in my way. It took me over a year to fully open up this channel. And technically, yes, like I could have debuted earlier, but I think what was more important than just starting to make random content was making stuff that like I wanted to make and that I was proud of. And so little by little, instead of worrying about other people's expectations, I was more worried about like my expectations, what I wanted to do and what I wanted to present to people. And I thought, well, I still want to do a debut and we could delay it because what I want is when someone enters into the channel, they don't just look at like a stream, they see videos there. And I want those videos to kind of showcase a little bit about me more so than just a stream. Um, Having streams there kind of is all right. Like that, it's free, long, hour-long content. You guys can look at the VODs whenever you want on the YouTube. But the things that I want to be proud of when I look over at them are things like the lore video and are things like Twilight and are things like Eye of the Omnipotent. And like a lot of them are kind of like serious thingies, but like Eye of the Omnipotent was more so kind of a venture of my own brain and my own insanity, right? And so as kind of the months went on, it was less and less about the expectations that other people had of me and more so, is the thing that I'm going to release high enough quality for myself? And you might think like, oh, why don't you just worry about the quality of your stream? I've never been a person who worried too much about the quality of my stream. If that wasn't apparent, let's look at all the times during pre-debut that I scuff up my own audio. Or like my minimal use of like overlays or like anything like that. Much less worrying about the quality of my streams and like kind of embracing the scuff nature of it. Um, the actual videos that I edit down and the things that I enjoy, I wanted to put a lot more effort into. And that's probably where we see a lot of the reason why I kept on pushing back my debut stream. I do appreciate the fact that people were patient. I had a lot of friends that could have easily chosen the route of like, oh, just debut already. Like, it's already ready, just debut. But like, it being a channel that I'm working on and like I want to release certain things, like, I could have debuted months before. But would it have been what I wanted? No, it would have just been there so that I could make content. And I think honestly respect the priorities. Yeah, I appreciate it. The idea of me focusing only on what I like, it's very selfish as a creator, and I can fully admit that. But it's what allows me to release something and be excited that I'm sharing it and then not care how many people view it and like not care about the numbers, which I think is more important. Um Even if like 100 people liked and commented on the video, it wouldn't lessen or increase my enjoyment of making the video in the first place. Obviously, it'd be great, right? But releasing the video is a selfish desire of mine more so than anything else. So, you guys are along for the ride, and I could do some things for you guys, but just know that a lot of things on this channel are going to be because I want to do it. I'm just going to be straight up with all of y'all. I'm just going to do it because I want to do it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry in advance. um, but yeah, we've been yapping for a little bit. Thank you guys for coming along the Yap Fest. I think that's a little bit of catching up. I think we fully caught up as to what was happening behind the scenes, how it was happening, bar the stress and stuff, and the headaches, and the not sleeping. It was pretty enjoyable. Everything was pretty fun. I hope that like the day of, people were excited to see the final cut of the lore video. Were excited to see the music video that I had prepared. And then for some people who got to see the Eye of the Omnipotent, it's still up. You guys can go watch it. I hope that you guys got to see that and see how my brain works and see how dumb I am. Um, hopefully you all enjoyed all of that. Uh, there was just a lot of work from people that weren't me that I really do appreciate, which is why the entirety of, or the majority of that stream was thanking them, because I'm going to be doing streams for as long as I can and making content for as long as I can. But the work that everyone did to make that day a reality is going to be even more eternal than my streams. So honestly, yesterday was all about them. And much less about me, I guess. More Retsu stream. I'm literally streaming every day this week. I can't stream any more than I'm streaming already. Uh, we might as well. So let's talk about like the YouTube stream versus the Twitch stream. Like, obviously, we're still gonna do Twitch stream multiple per day. I'm not doing multiple per day. This is not the gym. I'm not doing 2-a-days. All right, I'm not doing 2-a-days per stream. Like, let's talk a little bit about, once again, YouTube and Twitch. Maybe a little bit about my decision making. I mean, it's brief. Like, why did I choose YouTube over Twitch? I don't know. I like YouTube as a platform a little bit better, just for organization purposes. And I didn't like the idea of having to export a VOD and placing it onto another platform when I could just have it all on one platform, right? Um, I'd like to think of the channel as kind of a collection of places, a collection of items that you guys can just come in and look for something that might interest you and then watch that or a playlist, right? Rather than like, oh, you have to catch a live stream or just watch the VOD and this is a VOD channel. Like, exporting a VOD is like a major reason why I didn't want to do it, but more so the organization of a person's channel. It could all just be done on YouTube, so I don't know why I would make myself do double the work. I'm already producing videos, so why do I need to do double the work? um, but a little bit as to like, now that people enjoy that I do Twitch streams at all, because it's a nice fun format and I have more people that I could interact with on that page or on that website rather than on Twitch. Um, I am, like I said during debut, I am going to be doing Twitch streams at, hopefully at least once a month. Um, if we can, once a month. If not, then I will simply just use Twitch as like an unarchived stream location where I could stream. There's not going to be a VOD, so if you miss it, you miss a kind of expectation there. Um, I've always imagined that I would be streaming on YouTube. I didn't kind of like start thinking I would stream on Twitch and then move over to YouTube. I started this entire project with the idea of streaming on YouTube. Um, just for my own organization and stuff like that. But if there's anything like odd or weird, then I'll probably do it on Twitch for fun. I'm probably going to do the next Twitch stream closer to the end of the month, for a fun little thing there. But we'll talk about that more when it gets closer to it. For the remainder of this week, we're gonna try and experiment time zones. So I'll probably retain most of the slots that not just have the most traffic, but just seem the most comfortable for my schedule. Because, and I'll say this up front, this first week not only is a gift back to you guys, it's also an experiment for me to see what works best for my time schedule when I do eventually reduce the amount of streams per week. Um, I will say this now. I do not believe I have the physical fortitude to stream 7 days a week, even if it were just for 2 hours a day. I feel like it would, one, be kind of a disservice to what I want to do with this channel, but also I would just be too tired. Doing streams in the first place is very tiring for a person like me, where um, essentially I'm expelling all of my introversion energy. I'm gonna take Thursday off just to watch me play Undertale. Oh my god. Oh my god. I mean, okay, so here's the thing. On Thursday when we do play Undertale, we're gonna see how far we can get. I think we could finish it in one stream. I'm pretty sure we can. I just can't be bad at the video game, but like, I'm probably gonna be bad at the video game. So, if you don't have to take off on Thursday just to watch me play Undertale. You could watch the gameplay and me struggling. That's normal. You could do that. You don't have to take off for me. Um, but yeah, I think we have not only like an experimentation on like the time slots and stuff, but like we have a lot of different RPG styles that we could try, different forms of content. Um, but keep an eye out on commands, because we're probably going to do something um interesting for each of those streams, hopefully with the chat commands. We'll see, depending. Which reminds me, Aji, can you try doing the exclamation mark points command again? uh I definitely haven't just been um coding while I'm also yapping at the same time. But the moment of being there, look, there's gonna be a VOD. It's no longer like the rest of my Twitch streams where there's no VOD. There will be VODs. Hey, the points balance works. Aji has 3,000 points. Wowsh. How many points? Clary has 1,000 points. I will give you guys ways to spend the points. Don't you worry about it. It will just take some time. Obviously, I'm coding it all as best as I can. It's all being held together by a bunch of chewed gum. No, Aji, the dual command still does not work. You're really trying. Look, I will have chat fight. Okay, so we'll peek a little bit behind the curtain. So chat fight is going to be a command little mini game that I'm going to allow for everyone. If you were there during the tabletop RPG stream, if you remember on Twitch when I did that one, we did Clary, Aji, stop fighting. If you were there during the TTRPG stream where Aji, Intern, and Vil were exploring the world, I did have a little chat bot that you guys could PvE against a little boss. Uh, um, we're gonna be bringing that back maybe, but in a different way. I do want it so that the person who gets the final blow on the monster gets the points instead of just an arbitrary thing called gold. So you'll be able to get your points, get your gold. There's gonna be a working RPG in chat for you guys to do. I'll bring my frying pan then. Oh goodness, you two. No scrapping in my chat, please. But yeah, there's gonna be a bunch of fun things to do in chat rather than just try to fight each other using your words. There will be a dual command, there will be a fight command. I'll see how I could make it fun and exciting, but it's all gonna be text-based, so that way there's things to do in chat. But I did want to bring back the fight the monster chat bot that I had made for the TTRPG stream, because I thought that was kind of fun. people just spending all of their points to try and fight a monster was kind of interesting. And then fighting for points there. But kind of working on one of the goals, doing the kind of text-based combat chat thingy is kind of my first steps into figuring out coding and like trying to figure out how I could start making a video game. So there's that. Um, so feel free to like tell me at any point like what a fun thing we could do for chat. So long as it's doable, I could try making it and try adding it. I just don't want it to be too hectic, or else all my RAM is going to go into running the bots and not running the stream. You two, stop fisticuffing in my chat. Oh, goodness. Well, we've been going on for about an hour and a half. We've talked a little bit about what the process was, a little bit more behind the scenes work. We got to see the lovely art of all the artists that worked on the 3 videos from yesterday. There are more videos coming soon. Literally as we speak, I have a project open in Premiere for another video. So we will get more stuff in the future when it comes to videos. You'll just not know what type of video it is. I'm excited for more monster battling in chat. I'm gaming. You know, Claddy decided to concede for, you know, for the sake of peace, you know. Instead of you just gaming, I think everyone is gaming. And I think that's the lesson that we need to learn today. But yeah, I think tomorrow we're going to be playing... Let's check. I believe... Oh no, Claddy brought out the knife. We're going to be playing video games. We're going to be playing Floppy Night, I believe, which is very interesting. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the schedule and like why I decided certain things. So tomorrow, the reason why I chose Floppy Night, I want to try different formats of games and like how I'm doing the stream just to see what fits best for edits in the future. Um, so I chose like Floppy Night, I chose Tales of Arise. I know we're doing a stream strictly for music and stuff like that. There's a bunch of stuff, and you're gonna see like the stream change a little bit maybe in between each stream or in between each session, just so that I can test what's good for me clipping and then me editing later on. But all of that to say, yes, there will be the live VOD where like you could go back and watch the video of me streaming it, but just assume that, especially for games that I'm going to be playing for a while, I'll probably clip those down into compilations for you guys to watch if you missed the entire thing, right? Like if you're busy on Thursdays, you don't have to call off just because you want to watch me play Undertale, for example, because I'll probably release like a whole video on me playing Undertale and like you get to experience me playing it through that way and stuff. Um, so I chose all these different games, and yes, I think all of them except for Friday are RPGs technically. Um, but I wanted to see with different types of games what I could do for fun, layouts and things like that. So don't be too surprised if the stream looks different one day from the other on this week. Once we settle on formats, then you know it'll be a little less confusing, obviously. But you know, as we're kind of working things out for this first week, especially for time zones and stuff like that, I know that some people can't make it to some of these, and that's fine. There's gonna be a video up. You could watch it. It'll be there. Don't worry about it. But yeah, I think I've yapped your guys' ears off. Thank you guys for hanging out today. I don't have much else to talk about when it comes to the pre-production stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we talked about literally everything that we could when it came to the production and some of the behind the scenes work. um I do want to, once again, obviously the chat bot is doing its best and trying to remind you guys, but I will be releasing more of the behind the scenes stuff on Instagram. So if you have an Instagram, you can follow me there. um Instagram is obviously at Inukami. I also will be putting up my artist profiles. So artist profiles are just little profiles that I make for all the people that I work with. um, showcasing, especially for like illustrators and stuff like that, showcasing the work that they've done for me, past and present art that they are working on that they've approved, and just kind of showcasing them and providing links to their social media and their commissions pages. So please be on the lookout there. If you ever see art or anything that you like and you need art done for you, just go there. Because one of the scarier things that for me was very difficult when I first started doing all the VTubing content creation was specifically finding artists and other commissions that like I could trust or feel like confident in giving my money to. And so to kind of give back to the community, I do want to have that Instagram be there for not only behind the scenes, but also a safe place where you could find artists that I can vouch for that do great work. Because there's nothing worse than gatekeeping good artists when their name should be out there, is what I think. These artists work too hard. They're in bad conditions. And now you want to gatekeep them? That's illegal. That's illegal IMO. So yeah, do look out for there. Obviously, a lot of you know that I am active on Twitter as much as I can be for any live updates for things and just random bad videos that I decide to put on the internet. Um, so obviously, if you don't already, follow me on Twitter. Um, but if you don't want all the weird mumbo jumbo of reading text, you could just go to TikTok. You might be asking the question, oh, then what about YouTube Shorts? We'll probably release our first YouTube short on, I would say, at some point next week. It's going to be interesting. I want to see how people react to the short. But we'll do that. Uh, is there anything else? Oh, thank you, chatbot. I appreciate that, chatbot. Thank you so much for for doing your job right on time. I think that's it. So I think we can end it there. I'm just trying to think. I'm looking at my notes. Did I forget anything? I don't think I forgot anything. Um, yeah. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. It was really fun kind of like looking back at least for the past year and briefly going over all the people that I wanted to thank and like the hard work that they did. Um, honestly, once again, thank you to all the artists and all the people that I've worked with over the past year. Without your guys' help, I would not have been able to like debut. I would not have been able to make any of the fun content that I want to make. So you guys are the backbone of what allows this channel to really roll and move. So thank you. For everyone who is in chat, thank you guys for hanging out. Once again, hopefully, no matter where you are, morning, afternoon, or evening, hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day. Always make sure stay hydrated, make sure you have something to drink, and if you haven't already, go ahead and have something to eat. That was a fun stream. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.